I like, yeah, Samson, or what do we, Samson, there we go. The Strength of Samson.
Yay.
Ding, 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 ding. I love all the synchronized camera phones being recorded. It's the sound of your ultimate humility. Right there.
Don't fall now.
Huh?
Don't fall.
Oh, I'll fall. Just because you said that.
Oh, no.
Wow, okay, so who hasn't gone to bed yet? Oh, cool. Oh, sweet delirium. That's good. That's great. Everybody had a good night? We had a good night? What did we do? What was going on last night? Disney sing-along. I can show you the shining ship. Oh man, what Aladdin did. Do you guys know, who's old enough to remember Aladdin being in the theaters? Do you know that was one of the first movies to still be in theaters when it came out on video? Yeah, it ran for almost a solid year in the theaters. It was crazy. And Disney's known for their moratorium. It's like, this will be on DVD 10 years from now. Like, Aladdin is still not on iTunes. Like, you can't find it. It did its original VHS and maybe DVD release like 10 years ago, or whatever, 15.
Wow.
Oh, God. 20, I thought in 2013, it would have been the 20th anniversary of Aladdin, and it's still not out. Like, Lion King is out, everything. That's one of my favorite, like, I fell asleep to that movie. No, like, I fall asleep watching movies, and especially I love falling asleep to, like, animated stuff. Atlantis, perfect to go to sleep to. It's great. It's underwater. It's cool. I love that, yeah. And I totally freaked out the first time I met Cree Sumner. I was like, huh? You're Kita. She's, yeah. Can you sign it? No. Oh. No, she's awesome. So anyway, good morning, guys. Thank you for showing up. And here are the executors of your doom walking in. They'll be murdering all of you. Remember, guys, we're polite when we kill. Thank you. Not like last time. So many words. It's like Hello Kitty meets Daft Punk. It's great.
Oh, no.
I was waiting for this, though. If you were here yesterday, you got that joke. So what are we going to talk about today, guys? We're supposed to be talking about Last of Us and Bioshock, right? Yeah, okay. It's kind of hard not to. Man, I remember I was doing a really, really, really bad movie in 2007, January of 2007. And it was like literally 18 degrees in Dallas. And the movie was just terrible. And we knew it was going to be terrible, but you're kind of like in it. It's like if the Titanic had pulled away from the gangplank and someone goes, "It's gonna sink!" You're like, well, I can't. You're on it, right? So you're polishing the brass as it's going down. But I'm doing this movie, and a buddy of mine, I'd moved to LA at the time, and I was back for this, and I said, I'm just dying on set. He goes, well, tell you what, how about I get this, the PS3 just came out, the fall of 2006. And he goes, tell you what, I'll let you borrow my PS3, and there's this game that I want you to play. You've got to play it. It's really, really cool. It's called Uncharted. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for the PS3, dude. And so he gave it to me, and I did exactly what any good friend should do. I went to Blockbuster Video, and I rented Assassin's Creed. And played the ever-loving piss out of that game, and beat it, and I didn't platinum it or anything, but I did just, because getting through it was just enough. Yeah, I accomplished that. There's your friend over there. He's waving back in the, there you are. I got you. That's amazing, by the way. Yes, the gender swapped Booker and Elizabeth. Booker catch. That's great. It was fantastic little sidebar. We were walking outside, and there were Booker and Elizabeth from Infnite met Booker and Elizabeth from Burial at Sea, and they were just like, oh! And it was like they touched hands. And it was like then the universe exploded. Always a lighthouse. And that's where the heroine is. That's where the meth is.
Oh.
Post-Breaking Bad culture. So I finished Assassin's Creed, and I look over at this lonely disc that's sitting there, and this is Uncharted. I'm like, yeah, all right. And changed my life. I finished the game, and I was like, that's why. Why aren't there more things like this? That's incredible. And I emailed the sound department of Naughty Dog, who later I would actually meet. He goes, "You were the one that sent that email?" I just listen. I just want to say what you guys did was fantastic. And I never said I'm an actor. I want to do anything for you. I just want to let you know that what you accomplished was brilliant. And thank you for such a wonderful experience. And when I started finally getting into doing more games, I remember they were doing Uncharted 2. And I was working on some game at Technicolor, and there's 2 studios, and they were right down the hall, and they were recording all the in-game VO and everything, and I remember just like peeking in through that one little small sliver of window and just being, red shirt. All I wanted to do was die in the game. All I wanted to do was die in the game. And cut to a few years later, I get an audition for a new game, codenamed T1. And the character's name is Joel. And it's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving, actually. And I'm driving down to my friend's parents' house. We're going to have Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm on the phone with my agent, and I am pissed. Because I see the breakdown for the character. I'm like, okay, so I finally get in front of Naughty Dog, and the character I'm going to audition for is like in his 40s. And this is like right after Final Fantasy, so I had like, you know, Shin Megami Tensei hair. I mean, it was crazy bleach blonde, and that's for me probably. And I was so angry. I was like, why would you put me in front of these people? And so I look at the material, and I was like, I've got to find a way that I can connect myself to this, because even if I don't get it, I got to show them that I'm good, because then maybe they'll hire me to be one of the guys that Nate shoots off of a building. And I go in there, and I read this one thing in the audition sides, and maybe if you were here yesterday, you heard this. I say this a lot, but there's one line. On an audition side, typically you get like an artist concept drawing of the character, and for this it was, I don't know if you remember, it's kind of the picture of him kind of looking a lot like what's the character's name? Shane West, the guy that's in Salem now and whatever. He looked a lot like that guy, and green shirt and jeans, and it says, you know, he's 6 foot. Every video game character, every character model is built at 6 or 6'1". For some reason, that's just like the universal height of men. So he's like 6. I'm like, great, I'm taller than that. Brown hair, green eyes, and then a blurb. I don't even think it said he was from Texas. And there's this one line that says he has few moral lines left to cross. Few moral lines left to cross. Wow, what does that mean? And you start asking yourself questions. And then the audition scene was, and this is on the remaster thing, I think, my audition. What's great is that I look up and I see this walking down and like, no, I instantly blushed, and then I feel like we're closer now because I've seen your anatomy on a very anatomical level. There you go. That's okay. No, it's great. Oh, you're awesome. So many jokes going through my head right now. And every single one of them is terrible. How old are you? Okay, I can tell some of them. So anyway, I won't. They're all terrible. They're all just terrible. Where was I?
Edible.
Audition. So the scene is, it was written specifically. Neil has a tendency to do this. He writes scenes specifically for the audition. It works better mechanically. It's better we got to get through this quickly, or in this scene, when we finally get there, there's going to be more people in this scene, but right now we just auditioning the 2 people. They've already cast Ashley, and so I'm reading with her. And it was a scene where, there was 2 scenes. One of them was, she almost gets killed because she's trying to save her Walkman. And, which scene's never in there, but it was actually this really, really cool scene. And it was just this really great moment. And for some reason I found, like this voice just came through and I just understood who he was. He was this guy. And we get through with it. And the first thing I did when I walked in, I saw Ashley. Never met her before, knew who she was. I walked in, I was like, she looked like she had just been through hell. Like you have to understand, you do an entire day, especially with the intensity of these scenes, of guys screaming at you. And it's not like, that was fun. She was just, you could see her putting on the smile. She's like, hi. I was like, can I just give you a hug? She goes, yes. And so I gave her a hug, and it was like literally, and I was like, oh, and I'm Troy. She's like, I'm Ashley. And it was just instant. I was like, I love this girl, and I love Ashley so much. And it becomes crucial when you're doing a game like this. You can't fake that. You can't fake, and that's not anything to my credit. If anything, it's to Ashley's credit for being such a warm and open person. But the relationship that Ashley and I have was forged through fire of that game, because we got really vulnerable and really open and naked with each other. Because you bare your soul. Because when it's not working for you, when the scene isn't working, that's very humbling, and that's very, in certain light, humiliating, because you're not good enough. You can't make it work, and you're sitting in that with somebody else, and nuts. I'm just ADD, so I hear like anything, I'm like, what?
Shiny.
So, the relationships, both inside and outside, trusting your director. I mean, here comes Neil Druckmann, worked on Uncharted 2. I mean, he's been with Naughty Dog for over 10 years, and so he's worked on Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, started doing Last of Us when they were doing Uncharted 3, so that's how long that thing was in production. And we started off with one director, and then we decided to make a philosophical choice. It had nothing to do with the director at all, that we needed to have it needed to have its own voice, and so he started looking around for different directors, and then finally it just became obvious. He's like, dude, why don't you just do this? And Neil Druckmann went to acting classes, he went to directing classes, he read books. That man put himself through boot camp to make sure that he was prepared. And he's such an amazing guy, and he's such an amazing director. Like, the guy just gets it. Like, and people say, well, you should do film then. Why? It's easier. It's a completely different job. Like, the director on a film and a director on a video game are so night and day. They really need to come up with new titles. Grandmaster of the Universe, I'm gonna throw that out, maybe that works better. But Neil did an amazing job, and he took us to places that we didn't know that we could go. And that leaves an indelible mark on your heart when someone brings the best out in you that you didn't even know existed. And everybody should find a Neil. Everybody should find a Neil. It doesn't mean they're a director. It just means that there's somebody in your life that sees something in you that you can't even see, that their sole purpose and intention is to pull that out of you and show it to you, and then showcase it. And there's a Neil for everybody. Huh. There's a Neil for everybody in this room. It could be your dad, your mom, brother, your sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, random stranger. Be careful. I'm your Neil. Oh, you're drunk. Not wearing any pants. For some reason, Gary Busey is your Neil. That's right. So find your Neil, find your Ashley, find your Ellie. Find out what your purpose is. At the same time, we're doing Bioshock Infinite. And I walked into that audition, completely different thing, ironically, back in Technicolor. And they're cycling people through. And it's a small community. A lot of times, some games will reach outside the normal spectrum, and they're auditioning people. You're like, you're on an episode of Arrow. Or I've seen you on CSI as the dead guy on the table. Because we want to branch out to TV and get some TV actors instead of just these normal actors. Okay, the TV actors suck. Let's go and bring in the normal actors that we got. Not all the time. I mean, I've worked with some fantastic people that really love breaking into W. Earl Brown, who played Bill in Last of Us. He's like, I'm a gamer. I'm eating this shit up. It's amazing. But then we go over to Bioshock, and it's like cycling through people, and you're sitting there, I mean, this close to Yuri Lowenthal going, hey, bud. You know, and it's like, good luck, you know. And they're Troy go in with Emily, okay, Emily go in with Yuri, okay, Yuri go in with Emily, and it's like, you know, all this back and forth, and finally it's like, okay, Troy, you go in with Courtney. Okay. And so Ken is this talking head on a Skype screen, and because he's back in Boston. Hey, Courtney and I just start reading with each other, and Ken's like, okay, we've lost our Skype connection. Give us a second, because Skype always worked perfectly. He goes, hang on, we're gonna reset, and we'll come back and we'll do another run. And I look at Courtney. She's just 1K tone, completely blank, just boom. And I was like, are you okay? She's just, yeah. Hi, how are you? Like, are you know, she's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea what I'm doing. Not like she didn't know what she was doing, like on a you know, emotional level or whatever, or like in life, like philosophically. But she was like, I just, what do they want from me? I thought this was going to be like we're going to move around, and they want me to stand here, but they want me to act with you. I don't know what's happening. I was like, it's cool. Just talk to me. Let's just talk to each other. And she's like, yeah, but I don't know these lines. I was like, I change almost every word in every script. I'm terrible. Writers hate me. I just burped just then, if you guys didn't know that. You see that stroke that I had just there? I was like... It's like when somebody has to yawn, but they don't. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, you've been drinking all night, and they still feel embarrassed to yawn in front of you, like... Yeah, man, that's great. No, the story's incredibly compelling. Tell me about the time you were in 3rd grade. It's like trying to hold in a sneeze, man. Sometimes you just gotta go, hang on. Let Chewbacca out. Great, if our yawn sounded like that. And then we would always think that, like, Chewie was the sleepy dwarf or something. It was nice. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, don't lead me down tangents. So Courtney comes in, and we just start having this conversation, and then that conversation grew and grew and grew, and to watch her come out of her shell and really invest herself fully, and good God, man, does she not have to go for it? Such an emotional role. I mean, it was like, if you're not crying, you're yelling. Or being very quiet and introspective. And so it was just like, Ken made that girl jump through hoops, and by the end of it, she was doing pirouettes and flips through it. It was crazy. So anyway, I could go on and talk about this for days, but do you guys have questions about it? I'd love to answer. Yeah, in the back there, what's up? Or the middle section.
The last one, where the ending, alternate ending, when you guys are in the seats. What came across your mind the moment you break out of the song?
Literally, and you can see this if you watch the behind the scenes on the Grounded video, everyone's like, oh, you look like you got caught. I was like, my literal thought was, damn, she can sing. Because I mean, she had been on Broadway, she was in Rent, so I mean, I knew that she could sing, but I didn't know she could sing. And she just, you know, I was like, oh my God. And then, this is literally happening like this fast. I went, wow, she can sing. Oh, I see what they're doing here. Watch this shit. And I just went for it. And what's hilarious is, and you can kind of catch a brief thing, Ashley for some reason wasn't there. Because I don't think she was originally supposed to be shooting that day. We just had to get this one quick pickup with me, and they were like, I want to get this, but Ellie is supposed to be on the table. We can use Les. Les Ismore was our stunt double, but he's a mannequin. But it looks, I mean, he's in a suit, and he weighs like, 130 pounds or whatever, 120 pounds. But he looks like a person, and in acting, less is more. Does that make sense? So his name is Les Ismore. And they were like, well, we could use less. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. He's big, and then it'll get weird data, and I feel weird about in this emotional scene. And that day, my wife, first time ever, had decided, hey, can I come to set? I know this is your last day, or one of your last days. Can I come to set and just watch and take pictures? She's an amazing photographer. She's in Africa right now. It's just crazy. So I was like, that'd be awesome. Yeah, you can take these great pictures. And so he's like, I mean, we need someone who's about Ashley's height. And my wife's like, oh, no. And Neil was like, Bill, who's our first AD, goes, Bill, do we have a suit that would fit? We have a suit that would fit her. Yeah. And they started getting surprised. She's like, guys, I really don't have to. And so my wife got to get into a mocap suit and do the rums, and that's who's laying on the table during that entire thing. Oh, sweet, yes. But if you watch, it looks like she is having a fit because she's trying so hard not to break and laugh and ruin the take because she's laughing her ass off at this thing that's happening above her. So she's just sitting there shaking her head. It's so great. But yeah, I mean, that's just, it was such a heavy shoot. There were very few scenes that were like, we were having fun in between stuff, and we certainly had our fair share of laughs, but nothing like that. And it was just great. I loved that thing so much. And the original goal was to actually fully animate it and either leak it or put it on the disc as a DVD, but I know. And then they did this crazy thing where they're like, we need to finish the game. So we're not wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever. But I'm still holding out hope that somehow someone will take that and fully animate that, because you kind of want to see it, and then there's talks that somebody wants to take it to Broadway and do The Last of Us, the musical. We are clickers, we are clickers. It'd be fantastic. Anyway, next question. Red shirt.
So, in the recent age of video gaming, there's been this bridge of video gaming breaking into cinematic that you and Nolan have been a huge part of. Where have you had to change your presentation, your acting style, as well as what have you seen from the video game creator standpoint that has changed?
You're too smart. It's evolved, and it's like a tree. If you're not growing, you're dying. And yeah, absolutely. It's not that I changed my presentation. It's just that I allow, hopefully, I'm open enough to learn something from every experience.
What have you brought to it that you've had to change from previous experiences?
You have to understand story. Like I've really had to learn about story and about character, what that means. Making decisions and understanding why that character is making that decision. It's no longer just, oh, you have a cool voice. It's understanding posture and where is this character led from. And the trap is that you can get caught up in all that. You can get caught up in the Meisner technique of acting, as opposed to just the basis of all of it is listening. Just listen. And games are going more cinematic, but that's That's just the most appropriate or most convenient term for it. Because it's not just cinematic. Because yes, there are cinematic elements that we're putting into it, but it's connective tissue within an incredibly immersive and emergent thing. So that movie always stays in its one place. Games, they're throwing you around everywhere. It's like, you don't know when you're gonna have control back. Used to before you got that black bar, and now that camera just swings back around and you're in it. So I think that what you have to do is you have to constantly allow yourself to evolve and understand the medium that you're occupying it, not try to pigeonhole it into one thing. Nolan is such an incredibly gifted actor, and when you watch that man flex, not like this, but when he did David in The Last of Us, I mean, damn. It was so compelling to watch, even in that ridiculous suit, in that blank stage. But he's just so good, man. He's so good. And he is the giant upon whose shoulders we are standing. I mean, he paved the way for a lot of us, first of all, for the story element of a game to be taken seriously. And obviously that's been leading up. The narrative is no new thing. It didn't come out with Uncharted. But that's one of the first games that people stood up and took note and go, wait, ooh, this is just, remember the commercials for Uncharted 2, where the girlfriend comes with a bowl of popcorn. She's like, okay, I'm ready to watch the movie. And the guy's playing Uncharted 2. And I'm like, ha ha. Except now it'd be like the guy be coming and going, okay, I'm ready to watch the movie. And the girl's like, you're annoying. Platinum, okay, go away. So yeah, you just evolve. Don't try and make it into one thing, but I hope I answered your question right. It's a very thought-provoking question, and it's 10:30 a.m. Right side, I want to see my right side people go up. Girl, back here. Between vigor or gun? Yes? I actually got, the name is escaping me right now, but it's the one shoot. It's the, not a sniper rifle necessarily, but what was it called? Carbine, thank you. Carbine, I'm a sniper, so that was, I like the carbine, and what sucks is, spoiler for everybody. Not the bad fact that it sucks, but, because it doesn't suck, shut up, quiet. The one vigor that I did not max out was Undertow. Not my favorite, didn't like it. I like Murder of Crows, was my jam. Possession, I mean, that was amazing. Except for the fact that, talking to the designers, they go, oh yeah, we really made it to where the two vigors you needed to use on that last airship battle were Possession and Undertow. So I ended up doing this when I got to multiple attempts. And anybody who's like, I played a 1999 movie and beat it the first time, go, no. I literally was this with my controllers going, I couldn't do it. It drove me batty. Because you've got, just everything is happening. It's just a full frontal assault. And you really need Undertow to be able to, yeah. So, Murder of Crows, carbine rifle, or Possession, and the big machine gun. Of course, there's nothing greater though. I'm a melee guy, and there's just something so good about getting that sky hook into somebody's face. It's just, it's one shot, one kill. It's just, and it never gets old. Just every time they look at that look on their face where they see it coming, they blink right before it's like, ah! So good. Skyhook. Good question. All the way in the back, purple shirt. None. I'd rather act. Oh. Oh shoot. Okay. Okay. That's my sister back there doing that. Oh, damn, boy, just put you in your place. Shit. That was amazing. That was great. Here's the thing. It's not that any gig that you get is amazing, and like from a technical voice acting standpoint, like what we do on Avengers every Wednesday is just us. It's doing radio plays. What they've been doing for the last 70 years, 80 years. And even if they stop paying us and stop making the show, we've all made a pact that we're just going to keep coming back on Wednesdays because we have so much fun. Which, by the way, Roger Craig Smith, who plays, of course, Batman in Arkham Origins, and also plays our Captain America, please follow him on Twitter, and please look at his... You have? Okay. Settle down. I'll show. There is an IRS tax scam that's going on right now where people from the tax crime division of the IRS Department Bureau building, stupid, are trying to scam people out of money. And they made the mistake of calling one Roger Craig Smith. And Jerky Boys, fantastic. Crankacres, hilarious. Roger Craig Smith, I peed myself. He calls them 4 different times, and like put one thing. They're like, "Do you have your case number?" He goes, "Yes, it's H as in hoax, A as in a-hole." He just goes on there like, "What is your phone number?" He's like, "It's area code 911." They're like, "Okay, 911." So he takes the piss of them. For like 13 minutes. Each clip is one's like 6, one's like 8, and the last one is 13 minutes. He played. And he's like, he ends up like, he goes, "Hey, hang on, let me transfer you over," because they keep transferring him. He's like, "Let me transfer you over to my grandfather." And so, "Hello," and this is like, "Hang on, I'm gonna transfer you over to Hector." He's like, "Hello, this is Hector." I mean, it is. Last night, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. So anyway, so I mean, the voice acting thing is I just want to act, and that's. I want to get rid of the qualifier. It's just acting. It's not like, "Hey man, Brad Pitt does some really good face acting. Does some really good hand acting." It's just, you're just acting. And sometimes you use one tool, sometimes you use another, sometimes you use this tool. But I don't know, man. It's whichever job I'm fortunate enough to get. All I want to do is make it the best that I can be. Make it the best that it can be. And learn something from it, because a lot of people ask, how do you do this? What are your successes? And I don't know what I've learned more. Like my successes have taught me nothing, because I'm still at the end of it. I'm going, I don't know how I did that. You're like, "Oh my God, that was amazing." I was like, I don't know what I did. Then don't tell me, because I don't want to screw it up. Don't make me aware of it. It's my failures that have taught me, and it's my failures that I've said, okay, I'll never do that again. That was a bad decision, or that was a bad performance, or that was a bad choice. Whatever it is, so it's not your successes that teach you, but rather your failures. So don't be afraid of your failures, be grateful for your failures, because those are the teachers that you learn from the most. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. I was having a conversation with, this is a good segue into this, and we'll get into another question. I'm going to tell a quick story. I was having a dinner with Mary Elizabeth last night, who I just love so much, and she did so great last night, if you guys were at the concert thing. It's so funny how pedestrian our life can be or appear, and then we find out that what's actually happening is life is preparing you for something that you're not even aware that's about to happen. My dog died, and that morning, the end of our block, there's this, God? Or Darth Vader is like, "There should be short attack now." So at the end of our block, a producer lives there, and this is really cool guy. I agree. Get through this story, I swear to God. And my dog, his best friend his first best friend was this Jack Russell named Jack. And we could never walk past their house without him stopping. And like, Jack died like 2 years before that. And luckily my dog sat at their front gate and just waited for Jack, because Jack would always come to the front gate and he wouldn't leave. Like, I had to pull him away. So we always had to stop by Jack's house. And so I'm talking to this producer, and he goes, have you ever heard the parable of the Chinese farmer? I was like, this is a joke? Like, what you're about to tell me is a joke? Or, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, and so he starts telling me this thing. He says that one day a Chinese farmer is out working his land, and into his pasture this black stallion comes in. And all the villagers go, oh, what good fortune you have. Now you have this stallion, you can stud him out, you'll be a wealthy man, you're financially set. And he says, we shall see. And the next day he puts his son up on the black stallion to teach him how to ride, and the stallion's too wild and it bucks him off, and the boy falls to the ground and shatters his leg, and the doctor says he'll never walk the same again. And all the villagers say, what poor fortune you have. This stallion comes in and now your son, his leg is broken. The farmer says, we shall see. And then the next day, the general of the army comes to the village. The country is at war, and he's requesting all able young men to fight for their country. And the boy can't fight because of his leg. So he moves on to the next village. And all the villagers say, oh, what good fortune you have, because surely your son would have gone to war and died, but now I can't. And the farmer says, we shall see. So on and on and on it goes. And I said, what's the point? He goes, there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And if you think in your feeble human mind that you have the ability to discern between what is good for you or what is bad for you, you've missed it. Like, cool, thanks. And then 4 hours later, I went through something that was just horrific. And temptation would be to say, what poor fortune I have. But out of that moment, out of that tragedy and horror, something was birthed inside of me. A growth happened. And sometimes, through breaks, that's where you grow the most, because your bones get stronger because of it. And when you prune a tree, you have to cut it back so that it can actually yield more. And so sometimes life will do that to you. And what the challenge is don't say, this is bad. Just say, we shall see. Cool? All right. Yeah. That was for somebody here. I don't know who it was. In the back, gray shirt, brown hair, thumb up.
I don't know if it's been answered, but I want to ask, how did you like playing the Joker in the Batman game?
Oh, I hated it. It was absolutely terrible. What's so funny, man, is when I was first approached for that, everybody auditioned like normal Hollywood schmucks, and but everything is under what's called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And somebody's brought that up yesterday. Goes, I'm sure you have NDAs. I'm like, oh, speak the lingo. So a lot of times that's when we say we can't talk about it. We really can't, because that's under penalty of either being sued, fired, or both. So we're not just being like, cheese balls. We really mean it. We can't talk about it. So a lot of times they don't even send out the audition sites beforehand. They're like, you have a meeting at 10 o'clock at this studio for Project X. You're like, all right, whatever, we'll see what this is. And then you get there, and a lot of times you're like, oh, or it's, oh. Everybody was like, I don't know what this is, because there was no character name. I think it was Jack White, is who they said they were auditioning for. And only because I was so familiar with the character, like specific samples that they had chosen, I looked and I went, okay, this is from the animated series, this is from Arkham Asylum, and this is from The Killing Joke. I'm like, this is the Joker. And I went in and I immediately wanted to leave. Because I started kind of building up, it was no longer who's Troy Baker, it's like, oh, Troy Baker. It's like people at least were familiar with me, and I'm like, I'm gonna screw this up really bad. And I got in there like before I had a chance to bolt for the door. I was like, Troy. I was like, hey. And like, come on in. I'm like, cool. And they've got a camera set up. They're like, we're just getting facial reference. You just want to, because they're going to try it and use your expressions and everything for the character. So it wasn't like mocap, but they were using it for facial reference. I was like, okay. And like, any questions? I'm like, nope. Pretty good. And she was like, okay, we've got, different samples. Is there one specific you want to start with? I'm like, yep. If I'm going to do this. And I figured I had one shot at this, and I'd never heard the killing joke out loud. And so I said, I'm just going to go for it. I was like, yeah, let's skip to like page 6. And they're like, okay. And I was like, this little monologue, this should be a good little thing. They're like, sure, go for it. And I just closed my eyes and just went and finished and kind of did the look around, and they were silent. I'm like, great. And I was getting ready to gather my stuff, and I was like, she goes, just give it a minute. Just give us a minute. I was like, okay. And Eric Holmes, our creative director, was in there, and I got it. And I was at a Comic-Con up in the gas lamp and having a beer with a buddy of mine, and he said, how would you like to, or somebody told me, he was like, you need to meet with this guy before you leave. I'm like, I love him, but I don't know if I have time. He's like, you need to meet with this guy before you leave. And so he said, I just want to let you know they're going to make the offer for you to play the Joker. And I went, shut your mouth. And he said, yeah. I'm like, I think I got to say no. And he's like, what do you mean? Why would you say no? Like, because, I mean, like, I'm doing Lego Batman, which is weird. I was already in, Arkham City. I've played Nightwing and Two-Face. If I play the Joker, I mean, it's like, man, people are going to crucify me. And he said, I'd reconsider, just don't say no carte blanche, because I really, really want you for this. So I think you'd be great for it. I was like, I think it'd be great for it too if I hadn't already done everything, It's gonna be a one-man Batman show. And so I ended up going to Ames Kirchen, who's the executive vice president for Warner Brothers Interactive. And he goes, I want to show you something. And I'm in his office. He goes, I want to show you something. And he showed me my audition. And he was like, we could keep looking, but everybody's happy with that. And if we believe in you, then who the hell are you to say no? He was like, well, okay, you got a point. I was like, but you got to spin this from a marketing standpoint. And he was like, we'll take care of everything. But just, will you believe in yourself enough to give this a shot? Just once. Okay? And it was all fear. It was all, and think about that. The only reason why we don't do something is because we're afraid. It's the only, not saying that sometimes that fear isn't justified, but the only reason why we don't do something is because we're afraid. If we could get past the fear, what could we do? What could we experience? What could we accomplish? So don't let, and how stupid and ego-driven was that fear? Really? Again, like if you were here yesterday, Eric Holmes, our creative director, I was like, I'm afraid that people are going to hear my Joker and they're going to hate our game. He's like, we've made a great game. I don't think you can cook it up. Stupid fears. Stupid fears. Don't let your fears be the thing that hinder you, for God's sake. Oh, shoot. I want to meet that girl so bad. Where is she? The cane? No. You. This lovely girl with the glasses just raised her hand. Yes. Here, come here. Wait. Hold on. Make this fair, for God's sake. Go. Would I write the songs? Barry Manilow writes the songs. That makes the whole world sing. Let's gotta find this real quick, hang on. Gustavo. I would want Gustavo to do the music. Because what that music, I know it was a joke question, or was it? But I just love what he takes on a soundscape, and that music played such a character in The Last of Us. I'd be cool with writing some lyrics for it. That'd be awesome. Yeah, interesting. Maybe you guys made me think. My Ellie, right up here.
I have a question for Last of Us. You know how Joel's kind of like iffy about Ellie's jokes?
Yeah.
Puns? How do you feel about them? Personally, do you think they're funny? Like I have a pun book right here that has them all.
Oh God, here we go again. What's so funny is, you know, we recorded those in the studio because those were like all in game. And what a great thing to do to have, like, if you're just, you know, those were idols. If like Joel was just standing around or he was wandering around before you hit a certain checkpoint that would trigger something or whatever. To have Ellie just reading this joke book that she found. And it was funny because they had to look to make sure that they weren't doing any kind of copyright infringement or something they really had to pay for. They had to be like public domain puns. It was crazy. But so Ashley's literally reading these a lot of times for the first time. And so when you hear her laugh, like that was what I was laughing at, was that the fact that Ashley was laughing at these own puns. She was like, it's a good one. She's just such a goofball. But all of our, like, her recitation of the puns and my reactions to those aren't acting. It wasn't like, okay, every third one you liked, then make sure the fourth one you say this. There were no lines. I was just like, oh, it's terrible. That's awful. What, you know? And she would be the same thing where, like, if it was a time specific thing, like there was one about something about the internet or something. She was like, I don't get it. You know, because it was like, what's the internet? It was really cool. So, again, it was such a great way to kind of like, it was another brush stroke to that canvas that like paid, because for a girl to be like, have you ever read these? These are great. It's like knock knock jokes. Are you kidding me right now? But how cool it was for her. She's Christmas morning about everything. But yeah, I love that you have those. All right, we'll hear one joke. Just pick one. This is what is known in radio as dead air. What? Who says that? What's so great is I hear voices, but then it's just like everyone's blank smiles looking at me. I'm like, perfect place for an assassin to hide. All right, go ahead.
I heard two peanuts walking through a park. One was assaulted.
It's terrible. My other Ellie over here.
So you're a gamer and
Yeah.
you play your own games.
Yeah.
Is it weird to hear
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
narrate?
Yes.
Like turn down the volume a little, you're just like,
No, fortunately right now, I mean, before my whole game setup was in the living room, and let me tell you how much my wife loved that. And now I've moved everything into our studio that we have, and I was like, babe, because I care about you, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get a big screen TV and I'm gonna put it in our studio. Really? I love you, babe. This is what I want to do for you. 5 minutes? Okay. Hi. Oh, no, this means. So I have this setup, and I'm a huge fan of Turtle Beach. Like, if you guys are into headsets, it's called a plug, by the way. Love me some Turtle Beach. And especially with a game like The Last of Us, where, like Call of Duty, it's great because you hear footsteps, so it gives me that advantage. But especially with something that is as creepy as, like, I went back and I played Dead Space, the first one. There were moments I was like, eee! It was so freaky because, especially in that game, you'd hear like, and normally in a normal game, that means get ready for a boss fight. This is just, no, just messing with you. Nope, just wanted to remind you on your creepy spaceship. So I love playing with headphones. So fortunately, all my wife hears is me just going, come on! Well, it puts up with so much of my shit. It's great. I'll shoot. So yeah, but it definitely is weird. And what's crazy is that The Last of Us was the first game that I was ever to really fully separate myself from. Like, I forgot that it was me. As stupid as that sounds, I forgot scenes. I was like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Or that's what it looked like. Because in your mind, it's one thing, and then you actually see it realize, you're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. There's one scene where it's me, Ellie, and Bill, and it's when you really come across the first pack, like the first herd, and all you really have is bow and arrows, and you're making your way in through, and you have to run, and you get them through a small glass window, and like you get dragged and then fall down. It plays so super fast, but we spent almost an entire day on that one thing, because we actually climbed up this wall, and then it's not that big, and what's really sad is that when you, I mean, it was higher than this. Yeah, it was about this high, because it's about 6 feet high, maybe 7. But when you watch video of it, it looks like not that big of a deal, but I fell, and you can have a crash mat, but it just looks weird when you actually roll. So I learned how to take a fall right to where you fall and you just roll into it, and I'd pop up, and Neil goes, that looks really cool. I'm like, sweet. He goes, no, it looks too cool. You're making Joe look like a ninja. you can't do that. I was like, what do you need? He was like, I kind of need you to just eat shit. I need you to just fall. And so, I mean, face plant, just like, bang, and I get up, and I'm seeing complete white stars, and I just see Ellie or Ashley just going, are you okay? I'm like, let's get out of here. Just my bell is rung. But anyway, yeah, that's to see how that scene actually played out. It was like, oh man, it didn't look like that big of a fall at all. But to me, it was weehoo. All right, I'm gonna do one more. All right, because you shook your hand. Get up there. You. Really? I don't know, who would I be?
Joker?
I have to say now it would probably be Joker, but the problem is that there's some people that are really good at it. There's somebody, I retweeted it, somebody did a live recreation of the Killing Joke cover, and it's spot on. I don't know who this guy is. He's got to be an ugly, because wow. But it looks just like with the whole camera sideways and everything. Is really, really cool. So check that out on my Twitter. Thanks for getting up early and coming to hang and watch me spin my yarns. Are you gonna? Who are you cosplaying as?
I come from Smash Brothers.
I understand you come from Smash Brothers, but you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, what did I say? New Age Two-Face.
I was going with the Two-Face. I like it, and
After the plastic surgery. Plastic surgery.
that's the new age. Had a little work done, you see. Very well done. It's caught me. I keep looking, going, is it? No, it's an Oreo. You just wait for the other dog to come on the other side, girl. Thank you guys so very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.